Welcome to the Floral Shop podcast, where flowers and business blend seamlessly. Join our journey to uncover the secrets of elite event designers and get insights into the art of running a successful floral shop. Here is your host, Ziv Raviv.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Floral Shop podcast. Today with me is Holly Berry from A Natural Design, all the way from Woodenville, Washington State. Hi, Holly. How are you?
Hi. Hello, Ziv. I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. It's great to have you here. You've been busy with flowers and selling bouquets and designing events and also becoming a content creator. And that's quite a unique combo. Tell us a little bit about how you started with the floral industry.
Oh, sure. That story actually goes way back. So when I was in high school, the English teacher had us do an assignment where we could write a paper on our dream job or any job we would want to do. And at the time I was like staring out the window, like I would love to be outside, not in class. So I just was picking the first job I could think of where I could like be around nature and play with plants or flowers. And so I wrote my paper on being a florist. And the math teacher had a wife who owned a flower shop. So the English teacher gave my paper to the math teacher, and that ended up being my very first job and introduction into floral, was working the summer job for the math teacher's wife.
That's so cool. And you actually got hired already from that paper. So what did it do to you, like to just start working with flowers? How did that impact you?
Sure. Yeah. So my introductory role at the flower shop was as a helper. So ring up guests, process flowers, clean the shop, unpack boxes, do the recycling, do the inventory, anything like that except designing. So I actually didn't end up doing any designing till years later.
And so, like, did you keep on working as a helper in other flower shops after that? Or how did you get to design?
Sure. Yeah. Yep. I helped on and off through all the years and decades with flower shops. My first design experience was for a little shop called Flora Flora in Kirkland, Washington. And that was when I first moved to Washington State. And I looked up, again, I was starting over because I had just moved to the States. So I was like, well, if I could pick anything, what would I pick? So I found an ad where they were hiring floral designers and did an in-person demo for them where they said, okay, that's great. Can you do it though? Here's flowers and clippers and a vase and greens and show us what you got. And so I did a live interview kind of demonstration and got my first actual design job with them.
And before going to that design job, did you do anything like in terms of education, or basically you just watched it done enough times that you managed by yourself?
Yeah, I learned in person on jobs. So for years before the first actual design job, any of the throwaway flowers or leftover materials, they would let me take the ones home that were actually good enough to practice with. And then from there, I used books and actually observing the designers that I was assisting in person and built a portfolio from that. So at some point, I would love to go get certifications because there's always something new you can learn. And so that is definitely on my to-do list.
So you learned from experience and from actually growing in the industry. At what point did you decide to open a natural design as a shop of your own?
Yeah, I first launched it in 2014 with Wire Services, and then decided to relaunch it again in 2019 when I went back to school full time and had to stop working my regular corporate job. And so 2014, I would say, is probably like the first launch of it. And then I'd been doing events on the side for private companies and graduations and weddings and funerals and stuff on the side around that.
So how do people find about you usually?
Currently, we're pretty active on most social media platforms, and then we have a website of our own.
What's the most challenging project that you were involved in when it comes to design? that you're proud of?
Comes to design, those have got to be the installations. So a lot of the more artsy business installations, businesses can hire us to do special events. So if they have like a new product launch or they have an open house or a grand opening or just some sort of attraction where they actually want the customers and new customers foot traffic to come in, they'll have us do displays that are that magnet, that foot traffic magnet. So sometimes it's like a selfie station. Sometimes it's, like a one-off statue or hanging flowers. The ones that we've done most recently, we did a Northwest Flower and Garden Show lobby installation, and they have thousands and thousands of people that visit that show. That was in February of this year. So we did a floral fusion dress out of wood flowers and named it Taya, and it was a lot of fun. It ended up looking on the mannequin kind of like a little flower girl dress. So all the kids that had to go to the flower show with their parents, that like immediately caught their attention because it looked like something they could wear.
And speaking of things that you could wear, you've been experimenting with adding flowers to hats and other type of accessories, which leads us to your flower fusions and your content creation journey. So tell us what drove you into that?
Yeah. So my favorite about flowers is that it can connect people to nature. And it's a way where if you can't go out and be in nature, you can bring nature to someone where they're at, whether it's even in a hospital room usually, or their office or their home. You can bring the outside into them. That's my favorite part about it. And that's where the term floral fusion came to mind, is because we can sell flowers, we can deliver flowers, but what is even more integrated than that? And that's like a fusion. And so that's where I started looking for other avenues and other ways to incorporate flowers into everyday life. And since starting that journey, and that was kind of 2019 as well, the whole world has opened up because I've met so many other people online that are doing similar things. And I just adore learning and seeing the amazing things that can be created out there.
So how often do you work on that, on creating new content, on publishing on your Patreon page?
Yeah, I try to do it once a week. So usually between Friday and Sunday, I'll start working on that, getting some sort of content created, some sort of video, and then editing. And if I can do recipes, if I can't for some reason do that type of a thing, then I at least try to get like a journal entry up with some pretty photos for the people following me on Patreon.
So you work out of your home with your floral business, right?
I do not. No, I actually just last year moved into a little warehouse studio. But yes, before that, it was out of the garage, and we've grown into a little studio at a local warehouse now.
Gotcha. So I was wondering, how complicated is it for you to manage like inventory, and what do you do these days now that you have your own space?
Yeah, that is a challenge. There's a couple different platforms we can use. I'm in the process of streamlining that and making it easier. And so squareup.com, Square is a big one that's really catered for small businesses, that makes it easy where it can be integrated. There's probably a ton of other ones out there I don't know about. And what I'm moving towards slowly is, as the one-off floral design orders are delivered to the doorstep, as that starts to like kind of max out, because I only want to do a certain amount of that, then be able to pivot more to the digital products and services for people.
But these days, basically, if you have a new project and like a decoration project, you'll just have enough time to buy the flowers in advance, basically.
I'm not sure I quite understand.
Like, do you have a big fridge with?
We do. Yeah, we named her Bertha. So yeah, I bought an industrial cooler. Yeah, for people that don't have really big refrigeration for flowers like that, you do want to wait until 3 days before the event or so, depending on your flowers. But most of them, if you have them delivered to you 3 days before the event, You don't want to go too much more than that to let them open and work on them, but then have them still kind of at their prime right when you're doing an event and not looking like they've expired.
Did you ever encounter with the situation where the weather was a problem for you, like in outdoor events? I mean, Washington is known for its rainy weather sometimes, and did that?
Yeah, Washington is a great state to be a florist. So yeah, we get a lot of, at least nowadays, who knows how long it'll stay like this, but we get a lot of rain and clouds for many months of the year. So in the summertime, so June, July, August is when it's hottest. In the wintertime, sometimes in Seattle, it can get below freezing. It doesn't do that too much, but if you are trying to do out of your garage or home, you do want to monitor the temperature. So you never want the flowers to go below freezing. And if you can keep them right around 35, 6, 7 degrees, that's the best, which can be really hard if you don't have refrigeration. So using ice in buckets is a great way to help moderate the temperature, because the water in the buckets stops any actual freezing, but the ice in the buckets can really bring down that water temperature as cold as possible, but right above freezing.
So you also experienced with cross promotions and with creators and with media brands. Tell us about that.
Yeah, that has been a complete joy. So by virtue of just knowing other creative people that wanted to collaborate and create together, which when you do it in real life, it's like you have the same feeling of being like little kids and creating a sandcastle together, on the beach, but you're doing it with adults. So people have their own hobbies. There's photographers, there's bakers, there's models, there's makeup artists, there's videographers, there's stage designers, there's people that rent studios for photography, set designers. There's all these amazing people out there that have these side passion project job hustles, and finding that kind of community, if you can find and become part of groups of those types of communities online, that's a great place to connect and then find people that are in your area, or if you're willing to travel. And from there, it's just coordinating who has what and when and where, and everyone showing up and playing nice. And so it's been a lot of fun. I've had probably over 20 photo shoots now since 2019, and I have so much content right now. We can't even get it up fast enough. I just onboarded a social media intern to start for the first quarter. I don't know how long she'll be willing to intern, but then after that, we'll have all the systems in place for our next social media intern, just to help get some of that content out there to the world to see.
That's really interesting. And did you see from doing these collaborations and like 20 photo shoots, that all of them probably are just stunning results, did you see an increase in your sales for event decor just as a result of you being active on social media and showing that you're doing these really interesting projects?
Maybe. So when you post on social media, and if someone out there knows like how to do this better, please let me know. I would love to know. Finding a direct correlation to a social media you and your business sales, unless there's some way to like tie in the tracking and the analytics, is really, really hard. We do have a custom request form, so people can come to our website, or I can send it to them and they can request estimates on things or ask us to collaborate. We did last year, the first year in the warehouse, just now here in January, February, March is our very first year. And we didn't even have the industrial cooler until Mother's Day of last year. So it's almost like, if you count actually being set up, it's almost been a year. And having that new cooler space and everything, we got probably, I'm thinking about 6 event orders last year. And I think the year before that, there was only 2. So maybe. So the answer is maybe, but it's really hard to tell from social media if there's a direct connection to your event orders.
Yeah, we hear that a lot actually. But we're always keen to learn and see what works. And like, it's sometimes I call this slow money versus fast money. There's like the advertising part, which gets you faster results with Google and with Facebook and a good website. And there's the email outreach as a way to find corporates and events of sorts. And social media sometimes, like SEO, it takes a longer time to actually measure the growth. Well, this has been really fascinating to learn about you doing content and 20 photo shoots. Where can people learn more to see your digital art and your skills and just like connect with you?
Oh, yeah, probably the Patreon page. So Patreon, Patreon, I believe, .com/Hollyberry, HOLLYBERRY. Patreon.com/Hollyberry.
I have it in front of me. We'll put the link in the show notes as well as the links to website and your work with Bloom TV. Can you share with us a little bit about what is it that you did with Bloom TV?
Yeah, absolutely. I forgot about that one. That was a big one last year. That took a lot of time. So we created a pilot TV episode for them, and I named it Wellness Blooms because it's focusing on interviewing a doctor at Bastyr University, where she created a custom tea recipe for anti-anxiety and relaxing. And we walked around the garden and harvested the flowers live and then showed the viewers how to make the tea in person, as well as get behind the scenes on our studio and the art part of A Natural Design. It was a lot of fun.
Wonderful. So this is like one of the many projects that you've been involved in, and you share everything that you figure out and learn along the way on your Patreon page. So definitely check it out. We're now going to switch into the fun game show of the Floral Shop podcast. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Yay. So question number 1. When creating a bouquet, what is the term for the central standout flower? A, the wallflower. B, the showstopper. C, the focal point. Or D, the green thumb.
I call it the focal point or the focal flower.
But wouldn't it be fun to call it the showstopper? I think it's a good name, but you're right. Good job. So question number 2. What's a common add-on for a floral arrangement to enhance its appearance? A sprinkle of glitter. B, a ribbon or bow. C, a few chocolate bars. Or D, an old newspaper.
I love D. B, the ribbon or bow, if you're talking about something that the florist adds on. If you're talking about something the customer would add on, they usually, at least for us, they add on chocolate or balloons.
Yeah, they buy it, but not for appearance, but more for like making the value of the gift more fancy and for the calories that comes with it. So you're right. Ribbon and bow is the popular answer. And I guess old newspaper used to be very common, but I'm not sure how they enhance the appearance. So practical solution though. So question number 3. In floral terms, what does conditioning refer to? A, giving the flower a pep talk. B, playing classical music to the plants.
Oh my God, I love this.
B, preparing the flower for the arrangement. Or D, applying fertilizer to the soil.
I like C. Let's go with C, although your choices are hilarious. I love this.
But it is C. And I mean, if you'll give the flowers pep talk and play classical music to them,
it can't hurt.
Condition to be happier. But in terms of the actual floral design, you need to do some prep work for the flowers. That's something, Holly, that you studied that already when you were a teenager in high school.
Yep.
Question number 4. How often should you change the water in a vase holding a floral arrangement? A, every couple of days. B, once a month. C, when the water becomes a potion. Or D, only when the flowers ask for it.
The potion is so funny. So every couple of days is not bad, but we tell people every other day. And usually that way it's not hard for them to have to think at all. That's just like, it's been 48 hours, time to do it.
Gotcha. Every other day does have a casual sound to it. I like it. And if we could ask the flowers, that would be great. Unfortunately, the app doesn't exist yet. So Question number 5, and this is the last question. In floral design, what is deadheading in the context of flower care? A, placing dead flowers in the head of a bouquet. B, the act of painting flowers to look dead. C, listening to Grateful Dead while arranging flowers. Or D, removing spent flowers to encourage new growth.
D. Oh my God, this is so much fun. I think this is the most fun I'm going to have all day because of your options.
You are correct, and you win the game show. And your prize is to get your website reviewed for conversion marketing for optimization, where we will show you ways to enhance the look of your site aesthetically, to make it aesthetically pleasing, but also how to win more clients with it and how that could impact your business. We'll actually design it for you and show you step by step, like why did we change anything that we did and how to actually leverage technology like Shopify or Square or others in making the most out of your shop. So thank you so much for participating, Holly Berry, in the game show and in our podcast episode.
Thanks so much, Ziv.
See you guys next week. Bye-bye.
All right.
Thanks for tuning into the Floral Shop podcast. For more floral resources and stories, visit our website floralshoppodcast.com or step into our school at floralshopacademy.com. Don't forget to subscribe for our next flowery adventure. Keep blooming until we meet again.